Welcome to Beyond the Glory, the podcast that takes you deeper into the untold stories, raw moments, and defining victories that shape the world of sport. I'm your host, John Walland, and each fortnight I bring you candid conversations with athletes, coaches, and trailblazers who go beyond the headlines to reveal the real grind behind the glory. Wow, an absolute honor and a pleasure to be joined by Gerda Steyn. Gerda, thank you very much for giving up your time. You know, one thing that I've noticed about you over all the years is just how you've got time for everybody. It's just incredible. You know, very often I've come up to you after you finished at the Comrades with my microphone in one hand, and everybody wants your attention, but you always are humble and nice. And I think that's really something that you probably in your life have always strived to be. It's just a normal human being, you know, that's there. I don't even know how to explain it, but it's just very special. And I thank you for joining me on my podcast. How are you doing?
Good day, John. It's such a pleasure to join you, and thank you for the warm introduction. It's a pleasure to be introduced in that manner, and I'm honored that that's the way that you see me from an outside perspective. It is true. I do love running, and that's always my first priority as well because it's my job. But I do feel like there's always time to just also pause and to appreciate the whole scene around just the running. It's not just putting one foot in front of the other. It takes so many different, elements to become a winner and to enjoy your running while you're doing that. So I do always appreciate having people around me and to share the experience.
And I would imagine all that support that you get, you know, with the two oceans and a Comrades, it's absolutely amazing. And you need that kind of inspiration, don't you, Gerda, to get you through, especially in the last few kilometers or so. So that does mean a lot to you, I would imagine.
Yes, it does mean the world to me. I always say that I can't imagine my running career without the support that I receive. It's such a motivator for me when I'm running, when I'm doing an actual race, but also when I'm training. I know that a lot of people want to see me succeed and to see me do well, and to really experience that type of support when I'm doing a race is really heartwarming, and I never take any of it for granted.
And all is nice. I mean, at this year's Comrades, it was really great. You're such a humble family. It was so nice just to meet your mom and dad and to be able to chat to them. But for them also, I mean, just something very special to have their daughter on a platform like that, winning races after races. Very, very special for them, and moreover, very special for you, Gerda.
Yes, absolutely. I'm grateful to have parents that support me and that have always supported me along the way. For them, my running career came to a huge surprise. As a youngster growing up, I didn't really ever stand out in any sort of sport. But later on in my life, it crossed my path and I made it into my career, and now they get to enjoy it with me. So it's really special, and I know that they love every moment of it. They always support me. They always get so excited before a race, and for them to also stand along the sidelines and especially at the finish line is memories that they will carry for the rest of their lives.
Very, very special. Take us back to your early days of Bothaville. I was there the other day, as I was mentioning to you, for Nampo. Of course, we all know Bothaville for Nampo. And I'd only ever been there once, but I'm sure I've missed out a lot, Gerda. But it's certainly a lovely spot. And for you, when you grew up there, tell us a little bit about your, you know, those early days and how you got into running, that sort of thing. Was there somebody that inspired you, or did it just come naturally?
I've got fond memories growing up in Bothaville. Actually, I grew up on a farm outside of Bothaville. The town is really small for anyone who's ever visited, but that's where home has always been for me. I went to primary school as well as high school in Bothaville, and like I say, that's always been home. It's very much a farm-orientated town. It's known for its yearly show, farmer show, Nampo. I always laugh and say at least it's something that puts us really on the map because a lot of people visit Nampo every year. And I've got fond memories. I've always been a lover of the outdoors. I've always been active growing up, just more playing than really taking it seriously. But I remember my childhood years as being active, being outdoors, playing with siblings and friends on the farm, riding our bikes, swimming in the river. That's really what is what my memories is filled with when I think about my younger years. I was not an athlete at all. I didn't excel in sport, but like I say, I've enjoyed it since I can remember, and I always wanted to try everything. I wanted to do every sport that I could find, and that I think was a good foundation for me. I know that everyone's story differs. Not all athletes have the same background, have the same history, but that's what formed me, and that's what made my story. And I look back at it with a lot of gratitude, because I feel like when running came into my life, I was quite at a later age, perhaps a bit more mature to know how to handle pressure, to handle stress, to stay true to yourself and not let sport change the person that you are, but to approach it in a mature way. So I'm very, very grateful for that.
I love that. And I would imagine that at some stage you must have realized, wow, this is really for me to become an athlete. Was it suddenly you saw you had a high VO2 max or a good lactic acid turning point, which clearly you do have? Or was there somebody that actually said, yes, like Gerda, you've got the genes, we've got to get you going? Or was there anybody like that at that particular stage of your life in Bothaville?
At that particular stage in my life, I can definitely say no. Not, I didn't show any sign of talent at that point. Perhaps it was just because I was focusing on so many things, not one thing particularly, not running in particularly. So at that stage, I had no idea that I would one day be able to make running my career, and that I would have a talent and represent South Africa and run and win the comrades. That definitely was not in my thinking, in my line of thinking at that point. So I had other dreams for the future. I had always had dreams and always had aspirations, but I cannot say that running and making it into a professional career was one of them.
But did you win all the events at school, though, that you partook in at the sports days and that sort of thing? You must have.
No, not at all. No, I never made the school team. My school was quite small, but I was never really a standout athlete at all. Like I say, I enjoyed it, but
talent.
absolutely,
Yeah.
yes.
That is absolutely beautiful. Yeah, lovely. And did you ever sort of did you ever think of maybe pursuing a career? Was there any other sport that appealed to you, maybe like hockey or netball or anything like that at that particular
Yes,
stage, or not really?
yes, I played hockey and netball. That's the sport that my school had to offer. So that's what I played. And I thoroughly enjoyed it. I enjoyed the team sport. I enjoyed pushing myself on the sports field. I enjoyed being outdoors. So it was right up my street. But even there, I can't say that I really excelled in it. I played well, and I put effort into, being the best player I could be. But it was really the focus was spread between wanting to be a good player and also being social and enjoying time outdoors with my friends.
Did you ever imagine? I mean, you'd become Comrades Queen like you have done, Two Oceans Queen, just about every race. I mean, you only started running seriously after moving to Dubai, of course, Gerda, in your, I think, mid-20s it was at that stage. What was the turning point when you thought, I can actually be great at this?
Well, I started running when I moved abroad, like you say, in my early 20s. I wanted to again just find a place to make friends and connect with people in the new city that I was in. And like I said before, always knew that I enjoyed being active and being outdoors. So I connected with a running club, a local running club, and it just started from there. I really fell in love with it from the moment I joined. Before then, I was never part of a running club, so I never really experienced that camaraderie amongst runners. And even though I knew about the running community in South Africa and, of course, about the amazing races that we have, I never went as far as to join a running club. But when I was almost was not forced, but when I was really put in a position where I really felt the need to connect with people, I joined a running club, and that's where it started. So yeah.
Absolutely amazing. It's pretty hot in Dubai. Hey, I would imagine that you can't get hotter than that, and it's really stands you in good stead in terms of your training to be able to train in those searing conditions. It must be quite a challenge for you, Gerda.
Yeah, the summer months, I mean, it's very challenging. In the winter in Dubai, it's amazing weather. You can't beat it because the mornings are cool. The air is, it's lovely for running, and the community is also really vibrant. There's so many expats wanting to be active, wanting to connect, like myself. So the running community is really growing even now. But when I started 10 years ago already, it was booming, and that made it a lot easier. So yes, the summer months were challenging, but in a way, it's also really rewarding, showing up in really tough conditions, knowing people are waiting for you and taking it on together. It builds a different kind of toughness, I guess. So it was a wonderful experience, regardless of the fact that in the summer months were quite brutal.
It's just amazing what you've achieved. I mean, you've broken records, hold the records at the Comrades and the Two Oceans, the two of our prestigious marathons, of course, here in South Africa. When you look back to those races, though, as well, which moment stands out most vividly to you? Are there any of those moments that really will be, stand out in your mind as I mean, they're all special to you, but anything that vividly stands out?
Yeah, I think there's a lot of moments that stand out. If I think about my career as a whole, certainly I can say that the Comrades and the Two Oceans experiences stand out amongst all the other experiences that I've had. But to pin down one or two experiences that really is the biggest is difficult for me. I've been really fortunate to have won the Two Oceans now 6 times and the Comrades 4 times. And every single time was so different and so unique and so special in its own way. I do think, though, that winning the Two Oceans and the Comrades for the first time was probably both quite pivotal moments in my career. When you realize that actually this thing that you've been dreaming about, this thing that you've been working so hard towards has become a reality. And just the fact that motivated me to push on in the years following, knowing that I've already achieved it, I can do it, and I can do it again, and wanting to see how I improve, not in terms of the field, but also in terms of my own performances, how I can better myself as an athlete. So there's been so many amazing moments. It's really something that I feel so grateful for.
I mean, the Comrades is a race steeped in history and tradition, as you know, and emotion, of course. So what does it really mean to you, though, in terms of all those characteristics personally, and how do you handle the pressure of being a favorite? Because, I mean, I see you've got those challenges that you face all the time, but you always live up to the expectation. I mean, how do you do that with sheer strength, mental strength? Do you switch off, or do you kind of just sort of gear yourself up for that event and go for it, hell for leather?
Yeah, I mean, it's all about keeping your head calm and keeping your head straight. But I also feel like if you are so passionate about something, and if something means so much to you, and when you know that something that means so much to you will also mean so much to those around you, and perhaps even those who you don't know, there's nothing that can override that feeling and that drive. So yes, there's pressure. Yes, there's always an amount of expectation on me, but it never overrides how much it means to me and how important it is for me to show up on the day ready, relaxed, calm, and just going for what the task is ahead of me. I think also that as an athlete, it would be very difficult to perform at your highest level if there's no pressure at all. I mean, I can't do in training what I can do on race day. It's just not possible. You need that sort of push. And whether that comes from the competitors or that comes from the amount of pressure or slash support that you feel along the route, it all helps if you can manage to channel it correctly and not let it hinder you and not let it weigh you down, but instead lift you up and motivate you to get to that finish line even faster.
I've often wondered when I see you coming down the finish line there, what's going through your head? I mean, that final stretch into Durban or Pietermaritzburg, when you know you've actually done it. What is that feeling like, Gerda?
Yeah, it's difficult to put it into words. When I think about what I thought about in that moment, it's a million things and it's nothing at all. It's an unbelievable experience knowing that you've completed 90 kilometers and you are now in the finishing straight towards winning the greatest race in the world, in my opinion. It's a difficult thing to explain how big that moment is. It takes me also some time to process it and to really feel what happened. But it's incredible and it's an honor as well. I feel like, I'm gifted with a talent and I work every day as hard as I possibly can to make the most of it and to be ready on that day. And when it all comes together, it really is an out of body feeling and experience.
Yeah, I can just imagine. I mean, you know, that whole experience. I mean, on those tough days as well, when your body says no almost. I mean, what pushes you and keeps you going like that? It's just it's sheer mental strength, isn't it? I mean, running is as much mental as physical, but you have to prepare your mind for hours on the road, don't you? For all those different facets that you go through.
Yeah, that's absolutely true. I mean, you do your best not to go through a really difficult patch. You do your best to be well prepared and ready for the challenge ahead. But you also you can never know when those really difficult moments will come and when they will happen. And I think that you can't expect for them never to cross your path. There will always be tough moments. Even in a shorter distance race, when you're doing a 5 or a 10 or a 21 kilometer race, you can go through a really difficult patch and pick yourself up again. And that's really when that moment, that mental strength comes in, where you have to just get yourself going and keep yourself going from a fueling source or an energy source that is way beyond what your body or your physical fitness can carry you. Our minds are so strong, and I think we sometimes take it for granted. I can always find something to keep me going, even when my body is really, really tired. And the thing is, with the longer distances as well, it's wonderful to have had the experiences that I've had already now, because I know now that when I go through a bad patch, I can push through it and get through it and feel really, really good again afterwards. So it's just about not losing faith, It's just about keeping your head cold and keeping yourself calm and working through those bad patches, because minutes later you can feel like $100 again and keep pushing again towards your best performance. But if you give up in the middle, you will never know how long it would have taken you to push through, or whether you will have had the strength to push through. So it's just about never giving up and believing in yourself and believing that the mind can carry you long after the legs can.
It's a lovely way you sum it up, I must admit, and certainly very inspiring. How do your support system, your coaches, family, fellow runners, in helping you stay at the top as well? That's also very imperative and important, isn't it? It's all about that everyone that's in place as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Yes. I think for me, my biggest foundation, my biggest anchor is my husband. He supports me 110%. He helps me on a daily basis with my training. We work together. We don't have a coach, so we work together to work out what is the best training for me. He looks at my training. He looks at my statistics as much as I do. So that's really reassuring and really special also to have someone in my corner 100%. So to have that is always for me, it makes me feel relaxed. It makes me feel like I'm not on my own and I'm not doing this thing as a one person. It really is the two of us that is in it together. So I can't really imagine what my running would have been like without him. To have someone, not to have someone on your side who believes in you more than you believe in yourself and can sometimes just give you a little bit of perspective. I know I can have the tendency to really mull over what I have to do today or tomorrow or how to do my workout or what the timing and what time I need to wake up. And I can get quite caught up in the moment sometimes. And my husband, again, can give me a bigger perspective. He can look at it from the outside and say, what is today going to matter in the big scheme of things? So there's a lot of, a lot of support coming from my husband. But like we also discussed earlier, my family always supports me. They are behind me 100%. I have friends that is supportive. I've got friends that are runners and non-runners, and even beyond that, a lot of support and a huge community as well that I know carry me. So it's a wonderful feeling, and it's a good place to be in. Running is an individual sport. We can't get around that. When you stand on the start line, you are an individual and you've got two legs and a pair of shoes that carry you to the finish line. But to have that sort of support structure around you, in every other aspect of my life and running, is really important to me.
That's beautiful, Gerda. And I know for your husband, who is an airline pilot as well, it's also a difficult schedule. But the fact that and that's something that my wife and I also maintain, is you do things as a team, and I think that's really important. And the time that you have together is clearly very precious.
Absolutely, yes. I can't agree with you more.
Are you looking to connect your brand with South Africa's top sporting stars? Icon X 360 is your go-to commercial talent management agency, turning elite athletes into powerful brand ambassadors. From endorsements to appearances, digital campaigns to strategic partnerships, we maximize value for both talent and brands. Lovely. You've competed and trained all over the world, from South Africa to Europe as well, and also the Middle East. How has that shaped you as both an athlete and a person, would you say?
I think, first of all, it's given me, it's always given me a good perspective. It's always opened my eyes to what is going on around the world, what is the level of performance that there is especially, well, of course, in my case, in women's sport, in women marathon and higher, further. So I think that I'm really grateful for the fact that the international exposure has definitely given me perspective. But in the same breath, it's always brought me back. It's so great actually for me to have experienced it all, not to wonder about what is going on out there. I've competed in 2 Olympics. I've competed in world marathon majors. I've competed in smaller international races. I've had a lot of exposure internationally, but nothing ever stands out in the way that the South African races stand out to me. It's given me such an appreciation for the community that we've also got in South Africa, how the running community works together, how the running community is really unique. And then, of course, the races as well, the comrades, the 2 Oceans. It is like nothing else. It's like nothing else out there. And I don't know if as a South African, if that's the only experiences you've ever had, whether your perspective will be the same, whether the appreciation for them will be the same. So I feel fortunate that I've had experiences abroad and wonderful experiences abroad, but also that it's given me that appreciation for what we've got right here on home soil.
I've often wondered, do you find any differences do you notice between the South African running community and those abroad?
I think there's always differences. Cultures differ, setup differ, But yeah, I think what we have built in South Africa is really special. To be part of the running community, it really gives you a sense of what it would be like if we all just got along all the time and we worked together all the time and without anything nasty, anything bad. We just everyone standing on the start line, working together to get ourselves over the finish line. I think it's something very, very special that we've got in South Africa that's working well, and that is a symbol and symbolic of what we as a country can do together.
You mentioned a symbol. I mean, you've certainly become a symbol of inspiration, especially for young women in sport. How do you embrace that role, Gerda?
It to me feels like a little bit of a responsibility that I carry. I don't just run for myself. I don't just run for the pleasure of going out anymore. That those days are for me long gone. I know now that my running can carry more. It can be more meaningful to people other than myself. And that to me, it is a responsibility. It's not a responsibility in a bad way. It's an honor to carry that responsibility. And I am always delighted to hear young girls or boys say that one day they want to run, or one day they want to run with me, or like me, or faster than me. It's so heartwarming because I am the walking proof of the fact that being active and being a runner can really change your life. It can change your lifestyle. It can bring you so much joy in your life. Unfortunately, it's a very healthy way as well. So there's always that to encourage kids to be active and to get out there and feel the air and push them, push their bodies a little bit and feel the endorphins that come with exercise.
So beautiful. Yeah. Do you have any rituals, anything like that? I've often wondered, like mantras or superstitions before a big race.
I try not to be too superstitious, but I do have a certain amount of things that I know always works, and I'm very reluctant to deviate. For instance, I know exactly the meal that I have before a race. I know my routine before a race. I know what I'm going to wear and what I I've got everything sort of in the same routine and rhythm every time before a big race. So I try not to be too superstitious because I know it can become quite a bit of a cycle that you put yourself in. But yeah, I do certainly have rituals that I stick with and that I am reluctant to change.
If running was ever taken away tomorrow, what would you be doing, Gerda? Do you think? What would you love to do?
Yo, that's a very,
Difficult
very
one.
difficult question.
Yeah.
I mean, 10 years ago, 12 years ago, I thought I'm going to be a quantity surveyor working in the office. So,
Really?
yeah, I never thought running would be what I would do on a daily basis. But if I wasn't a runner, I would certainly still want to do some form of sport. Perhaps cycling. I really love riding my bike. I spend a lot of time in the mountains, so I would love to ski as well. There's a lot of alternatives that I could think of, but I would certainly choose a different sport as an alternative to any other job.
Oh, that's beautiful. What sort of legacy would you ever like to leave behind, not just in sport, but in life general?
I think a legacy I would like to leave behind is to yes to be an example that running can really change your life, and also that when once you take away the focus from yourself and focus on trying to help others and focus on trying to inspire others, it becomes a lot more meaningful. And yeah, that also what I feel always is a good legacy to leave behind is to show that running does not have to be short term. You can do it year after year. You can return year after year for many years with good success. We see so often runners come onto the scene, stay for a year and disappear. And it makes me so sad because to get to the top of your profession takes a lot of hard work and it takes a lot of time and investment. And often we see that it just disappears so quickly. So I think that definitely is also something that I would want to leave behind, is to always to encourage people to do it to the right moderation so that you can continue doing it for many years to come, and to always focus on that longevity as an athlete.
Yeah, truly inspirational. Gerrit, maybe some quick questions as to, what's your favorite post-race meal? I say post-race, maybe you can tell me pre as well, but I know that you get that craving afterwards. You said, yeah, I feel like a curry tonight, or I feel like, a hamburger or anything like that. I mean, is there anything specific, or even a pizza?
Yes, when I think about the past few years of Comrades, I've always had a pizza. Even at Two Oceans, to be fair, I've always had a pizza. I don't have it very often. Well, I can actually say I never have pizza, so it's very lovely to just enjoy it after a big
Beautiful.
race. I also always promise myself that I'll be having ice cream after the race, although I don't have it. I can't really remember particularly going for the ice cream, but it's a nice thought. And then before the race, I like to again stick to my tried and trusted meal, which is always just the home cooked chicken and rice.
Oh, lovely. That's so beautiful. Yeah, home cooked chicken and rice. Simple as that, eh? You couldn't wish
Absolutely.
anything better. I love that. And did you have some coffee or some tea before training?
Yes, I am a big coffee lover. So always, I
Nice.
never try. I can't imagine it's the first thing I think of when I wake up in the morning is my first cup of coffee. So I'd always have a cup of coffee before I go training.
And Gerda, is it a nice cup of, is it beans or the crushed coffee, or what coffee do you like?
I like strong black coffee. That's my
Mm,
favorite. So yeah,
nice.
it.
And anything, I mean, if you've done so much, but is there anything in a bucket list marathon or anything or ultra that you would still want to run? I can't think of anything that you haven't achieved in.
No, there's certainly some things that I still want to achieve. I feel like I've still got a few years in me, so I want to
Lovely.
make the best out of it. And one thing that I would really like to attempt is to run a 100-kilometer race. Of course, Comrades is already 90 kilometers. So that's definitely something that I would like to try and see how I can perform on perhaps a fast course on the 100 kilometers. So that's definitely on the forefront of my
Sure.
mind. And then, of course, there's the trail races as well. I've not competed
Yes.
in many trail races until now. However, I do spend a fair bit of time on the trails. So that's definitely also something that I would like to do and try in the near future.
That's absolutely fantastic. Yeah, that's certainly growing, isn't it? In leaps and bounds, the trail running. It's something that a lot of us would like to tackle. Who's your toughest competitor ever been that you've had to face? We all have competitors in life, in sport, but is there anyone in particular that you would say has been the toughest?
I mean, I've competed at the Olympic Games. I've competed twice at the Olympic Games, and really, there you are standing amongst the best of the world, and everybody on that start line is there ready to perform at their highest levels because it's the biggest stage in athletics. So,
Yeah.
I think to have had that experience, definitely again, it's put it into perspective for me. It is the world's best athletes. But I've also run the New York Marathon, I've run the London Marathon, and you can't really get more creme de la creme than there, I guess, as you can say.
Yeah.
But also locally, I've had fierce competitors in the local races. When I think about Comrades Marathon, there's Alexandra Morozova, who is
Yeah.
fabulously strong and just keeps getting stronger and stronger every year. So certainly, Alexandra has, through the years, given me a very strong competition on the road, which I, in a way, am grateful for because, like I said earlier as well, you get it brings out the best in you when you've got that sort of drive behind you. When it comes to the Two Oceans Marathon, I would say Red van Zyl has always been a strong competitor also. She's so talented and so strong. So I know that when I line up for those races, I have to be in my best shape and I have to perform at my very, very best to break that line at the end of the race.
Gerda, I really don't want to go over our time because I know you've also got a busy schedule, but you must just tell me if I need to stop because I know you have got other appointments, but I'm sure you'll just tell me more or less when we need to wind down. If I could ask you maybe one or two more questions, if that's all right.
Yeah.
Is it all right?
Yes, it's all right.
Yeah, okay, quickly, but you must just tell me now. We can. So the toughest, the best running shoes you've ever owned, would you say?
Well, I've had the pleasure of, what can I say, 10 years of experience in running shoes.
Yes.
And I can't say that I've ever had a better running shoe than I've got at the moment as a racing shoe. Let's talk about racing shoes because
Yes,
yeah,
yes.
there's training shoes and racing shoes. And my
Yes.
favorite of all time is certainly the Adidas Adios Pro 4, which is also the shoe that I'm wearing at the moment and that I've
Lovely.
worn this year at the Comrades and the Two Oceans. So it's a wonderful shoe. The shoe technology have gone from strength to strength in the past few years. But I think that Adidas has really got it right this time. It's an amazing shoe.
Beautiful, beautiful. And I think they must call that shoe after you because I'd love to see it named as Gerda. Would be beautiful.
Well, I believe that shoe has broken many, many records around the world. So I'll also have competition when it comes to the name.
It's just incredible. Yeah, that's wonderful that you found a good shoe and you're comfortable in both your training and your running shoe as well. Where's the most beautiful place you've ever run?
I think the most beautiful place that I have ever run and that I have the pleasure of running often is the French Alps.
Oh, lovely, 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 lovely. And the song that gets you fired up before a race? Any particular song? What sort of music do you like?
I like a big combination of music. At the moment, I would say my number one song that gets me fired up is Life Without Fantasy from Neon Dreams.
Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Any other nice music you listen to?
Yeah, I listen to a large variety of music. I don't listen to music while I'm running, so I try to avoid the earphones. Although when I'm on the treadmill, I can't help it. I have to put the earphones in then, but even that I try to limit.
Are you a morning person or a night owl?
I would certainly say a morning person. I love early mornings. I love getting out and I love to see the sunrise.
Oh, that's beautiful. Gerda, I'm going to say cheers because it's been wonderful talking to you. And I know we could talk for hours and it's just fascinating listening to you. Is there any races that you've got coming up now that we can look forward to seeing you involved in? And what's the future ahead for you?
Yes, absolutely. I've got quite a few races coming up now in the next few weeks and months. I'll be running the Hollywoodbets 10-kilometer race. I'll also be running the Spar Women's race in Johannesburg. And then my big focus to finish off the year is the Sanlam Cape Town Marathon.
Oh, that's fantastic. Is there maybe anything else that I didn't ask you that you wanted to talk about in general, or?
No, I think we've covered it from my growing up years till this moment.
Yes.
So, yeah.
When I think of you in Bothaville, I must think to myself, I grew up in Port Elizabeth and at least there were lots of hills there, that we could train on. But, Bothaville is plat. It's a plat plek. So it was seker. I don't know how you actually it managed to cope with not having proper hills to train on. It's when you first started your hill training, where did you go? What places did you go to?
Well, of course, then I wasn't living in Bothaville anymore.
Yeah.
But I know that the Comrades runners from the Bothaville Running Club, they do struggle with hills because it's very flat. If your dog runs away, you can still watch it 2 days later. You can see it running off in the veld.
Oh, that's lovely. Anything else you wanted to say? Anything that's we might like to talk about?
No, that's all. Thank you for having me on your podcast. I appreciate it.
You've been fantastic. Thanks, you, Gerda. May you go from strength to strength. I look forward to seeing you again at next year's Comrades Marathon. And that's also a big one and a very special one, of course, in your sights. And may you continue just to go from strength to strength in all your future endeavors. Lots of love to you, your husband, and your blessed family. Thank you for your time, Gerda. It's been an absolute pleasure.
Thank you, and same to you, John. We'll chat again soon.
Thank you for tuning in to Beyond the Glory. We appreciate every listen, like, and share. It means the world. Be sure to follow us on social media and keep the conversation going. And if you haven't already, check out our band link at https://band.link/Beyond Glory, full stop. And that's where you'll find all our latest episodes, platforms, and more. Stay locked in. More inspiring stories and powerful moments are coming your way. Until next time, keep pushing beyond the glory.